Good afternoon. Today's mini lesson is going to be about the interpersonal communication theory of relational dialectics. Before we jump in, let's go over the learning objectives of this lesson. The first will be to understand the concept of relational dialectics in interpersonal communication. And the next will be to recognize how relational dialectics influence our interactions and our relationships. So what is relational dialectics theory? The concept was introduced by professors Leslie Baxter and Barbara Montgomery in 1988. The theory is an interpersonal communication theory that explains communication patterns that arise between individuals when they maintain a relationship and focuses on the tensions and struggles in that relationship. So when we hear relational dialectics, I think it's important that we break down what exactly dialectics are. In communication, dialectics are the competing states that are produced through dialogue. There are two types of relational dialectics, internal and external. Internal dialectics can be understood as the tension between the relational partners, while external dialectics can be understood as the tension between the couple or the those in the relationship versus society. So let's take a closer look at that. The relational dialectics, or the competing states, are listed in this table. As you can see, the main competing state categories are listed in the left column and then broken down further into specific internal and external competing states. So if you look at the bold competing states in the left-hand column, you will see they have it integration separation, stability change, and expression non-expression. And then to break it down into the internal and the external categories, you'll see connectedness and autonomy is in the internal, and inclusion and seclusion are in the external. So let's look at this as the example being a relationship of the husband and wife. So we have a relationship where in the internal dialectic of that relationship, there may be a conflict of wanting to be connected and be seen as one, a part of the couple and be known as the couple. And then there's also that conflicting, each person also wants their autonomy. And then when we look at it in the external category, the couple may have conflicting states of wanting to be included in certain things in their environment and in the community, but then they also want to keep secluded and just remain alone and with just each other. So why is understanding these relational dialectics important? It is important because it provides a framework for understanding the complexities of relationships, improving communication skills, fostering relationship satisfaction, promoting cultural sensitivity, and supporting personal and professional growth. It encourages individuals to approach relationships with mindfulness and adaptability, ultimately leading to more meaningful connections and effective interactions. I think these things are something that we all desire. And on this next slide, I'd like to do a little activity that will help us apply the concepts of relational dialectics to real-life situations. So for this activity, you're going to need a piece of paper and a pen, or if you are on a computer, you could also just open up a blank document. First, I just want to do some reflection, and I want you to really think of a relationship that you're currently in or have been in recently. And this could be a romantic relationship, it could be a friendship, it could be a colleague, maybe a mother-daughter, father-son. So once you have identified that relationship, I want you to really think about a tension that exists within the relationship. So this is going to be between you and that person. What kind of tensions, and you can go back and look at the table of competing states if you're having trouble identifying that. And then once you've identified an internal dialectic tension, I'd like you to identify an external. So that's going to be a tension that exists between the relationship and its external context. So if that was maybe you and your coworker and how there's conflict or tension between your relationship and the team that you work with. After you've identified these things, write down a brief description of each of the tensions and how you think it has affected the relationship or how it is affecting the relationship. And then consider how communication could be improved now that you're aware of these tensions. Sometimes when you bring these things to light, you suddenly see places where the communication can be improved now that you know what the tension is underlying. So let's evaluate your results. Were you able to identify relational tensions? And can you develop insights into improving communication based on the identified tensions? If you were able to do these things, then you are well on your way to better communication and relationships. I hope you enjoyed my little mini lesson on relational dialectics, and here are my references for your reference, and thank you so much for listening.